I'm not. Half of us up here are sick.
Oh,
And
nice.
I don't, no COVID or anything like that. We just got colds, and I guess we've passed it around to each other. So there might be some sneezing and coughing, but Debbie's got the greatest sneeze that anybody does. So anyway, just don't get too close to us, all right? And there'll be no hugging and kissing from us to you, all right? But I can't tell you how thrilled we are to see you all here. This is a wonderful crowd, and it's when you are in a group like this and we practice as hard and as much as we do, and that means we're just playing it for us, it's wonderful to get to share your music, because to me that is a major part of being involved in the music group. So thank you so much for coming. We're going to start our program with a piece called Advent Carol. And I hope you realize that we are not really in the Christmas season. If you're a member of Westminster, we are very careful to think about Advent. And Advent is a season of waiting. And so we are now in Advent, and so we felt that it would be only proper that we start with an Advent piece. And we're going to play the Advent Carol. And this is one of, you'll recognize the tune, O Come, Emmanuel. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite Advent piece. And it's arranged by Hal Hopson. Now, many of you all knew Hal when he was here. And when we came to Nashville in 81, we joined Westminster in 82. And Hal and his lovely musical wife, Martha, were the musicians here. And I have to say, that's one of that, and the fact that KC was here, one of the things that encouraged us to make this our church home, and we have been grateful ever since. But Hal, a wonderful musician, he was quite into the handbell scene as it began to take over and be important in the United States. So this is one of Hal's arrangements of O Come, Emmanuel. And we just thought, let's think about Hal and Martha. They now live in Texas. How many of you knew them? See, look at that. All right, that's wonderful. We were very upset when they left because that was just a strong point of coming here. So we'll begin with O Come, Emmanuel, or the Advent Carol. And now for something entirely different. We've got Susan and Neal Ramsay. One of them's going to play the Hammered Dulcimer, that's Susan. The other, her husband, Neal, is going to play the saxophone. Now, they have performed on our program once before, several years ago, and it was such a treat, we thought, wouldn't it be fun if we could have them back. Then these two went to Peabody and graduated. I don't believe you majored in Hammered Dulcimer there. But Susan has a wonderful connection with Westminster that I want you to recognize because she has been involved in our children's choir program. We started at the same year, and neither one of us can remember when it was. Okay, it was back there someplace in the 1800s, something like that. But we started the same year, and she has decided that this will be her last semester to do that. And so I have learned more from being in the room with Susan as far as how to handle a group of small children than any other person that has taught me that. She's soft-spoken. She calls them Miss and Mr. She just knows how to bring that off. So we've been very fortunate to have her. And this is how we kind of found out that they do this sort of thing. And being married, you know, it's nice if you can, now they did not start this during COVID. I thought maybe that, you know, because at that time you couldn't get out and make music with anybody else, maybe it was comforting to be able to do it with the person that lived there with you. But they've been doing it quite a bit before that. And because, as far as we know, there's not anybody else that's doing this instrumentation, and nobody else is making arrangements for them. So Neal, being a fine arranger as well, has been making their arrangements for them. And it's fun all the way around, is it not? Okay, and today they have not only a hammered dulcimer and one saxophone, but they also have the cutest little tambourine you've ever seen. So listen for that. And actually, they're both going to play that, right? Not at the same time. So, not on purpose. So anyway, we welcome the Ramsays back to share some Christmas pieces with us. I'm going to turn it over. Neal's going to talk a little bit about what it is that they do, and whatever you all want to say is fine. All right? Is it all right? We'll just leave this right.
That's fine.
Okay, all right.
We're going to play. We're going to play a song called Riu Riu Chiu, and it is a Spanish folk Christmas carol, and goes back to the 16th century. It's a pretty old piece of music. I discovered it last summer when I heard the rock group from the 1970s called the Monkees singing it. And there is a YouTube performance of them, and they sing it in a very traditional way. Those guys are better musicians than I ever realized, but they did a beautiful job with it. And Susan and I decided, yeah, we have to play this. We really like the music. The words, Riu Riu Chiu, are nonsense words, but they represent the call of the kingfisher bird, which in this carol represents the protection that God gave the Holy Family. The form of the piece is a dance. It's a very lively dance, and it also involved, and there are certain breaks in the music which involve people doing stomping or hand clapping or playing percussion instruments. So we're trying to include a little bit of much of that as we can. So we wanted to give an authentic performance if we could. Next piece we're going to play was first performed in a broadcast by CBS in 1965 when they did the first broadcast of A Charlie Brown Christmas. And it was basically the theme song for that show. And it was written by a composer and pianist named Vince Guaraldi. And he and his trio played all the music for that special, that Christmas special. And since it's so popular, we've been playing that for a few years, and people seem to enjoy it. In our arrangement of it, I played Vince Guaraldi's right hand, and Susan plays Vince Guaraldi's left hand, and her part is way more complicated than mine. Oh, the tune is called Linus and Lucy.
Yeah.
Years ago, my mother taught me the correct usage of the word unique. Do you know what that means? It doesn't just mean kind of unusual, it means one of a kind. And it is so often misused. But we were talking before the program today with Neal, and we think their arrangements and their ensemble is unique because they do not know of another place or people that are doing this. And so if Neal were to send his arrangements off to the publishers, they would probably say, are you crazy or what? Nobody's going to be interested in this. But isn't it a charming ensemble? I mean, even if they weren't married, it would be like that. Thank you again. Susan and Jane and I are sisters. We are fraternity sisters. And
And a real sister.
and that's a real sister right here of Susan, Pam. And so we are at Sigma Alpha Iota, Women's Music Fraternity. So anybody else in here SAI other than my husband? Did you know that your husband could also be your sister? Of course, in this modern day. But that's an organization for women in Sigma Alpha Iota Women's Music Society. But they also have specials that they are called Friend of the Arts. And so men can be a friend of the art. My husband is one of them. And the day that they gave him that honor at Belmont, I was one of the advisors for that chapter there, and I said, it's just not every day that your wonderful husband becomes your sister. So, aren't we? We're sisters, are we not, Jane? Absolutely. Speaking of my wonderful husband, wasn't that smooth the way I brought that in? He said, somebody was talking about this next piece, and I don't remember who said this, and they said it was written by John Arnn, and they said, we don't know who John Arnn is. This is John Arnn, right here. You want to wave at everybody or something? Johnny, for me, taught at Belmont for many years, and he's a wonderful jazz player, but he's also a wonderful arranger and conductor. Well, you've done some conducting, haven't you? Composing. But the fact that we have in our group Audrey Campbell, you all know Audrey, raise your hand. Audrey is a wonderful speaker, narrator, poet. She writes her own poetry. We've had a program here recently with Audrey and her poetry. And the fact that she's been in our group for a while and we had her in our midst gave us an idea several years ago that wouldn't it be cool if we could do an arrangement of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and Audrey would narrate it and we would play music with it. So I write to the Jeffers Handbell people and ask what they have. And they had nothing. Nobody had ever done that before. Now that's not the only time that happened to us. And so being close by, in the same bed sometimes, very close by, we turned to Johnny and said, would you do that? And he said yes, he would. And so the piece you are about to hear is John Arnn's original, not arrangement, because none of this music is like anything else. It's totally all original. And then Audrey, with her wonderful narration, will do that part of it. So are you all ready? Part of the reason I'm talking so much is they had to get their bells all reset, and they were fearful I would start too soon. But they tell me they're ready, so we're going to get Audrey up to the podium here and get her microphone all set, and we will do John Arnn's composition with Audrey narrating for 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
How do we have this? Was it like this, Audrey? Kind of to the side.
Cecile was going to help me.
Cecile, can you help? Get it all set.
Microphones aren't my favorite thing.
You all do that.
Now, can you hear me? Yes. Everybody can hear, okay.
Needs to be straight on.
Frank, can you hear?
Straight on.
Yeah, Frank is the most important one because whistles. 1, 2, 3, okay. Hopefully that will do it.
Awful tempted to play this little tambourine. Have that in? some percussion instruments, so just keep your ears open for that. I'm in a good spot today. Now I'm in a good spot. Everybody ready? So, I'm going to do this time.
"'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief, and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves before a wild hurricane fly when they meet with an obstacle mount to the sky, so up to the housetop his coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. And as I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. Tough landing. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his toes. And his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. And a bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry, and his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. Oh, he's chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf. And I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk and laying a finger one side of his nose and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down on a thistle. But I heard him exclaim ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
I told you it would be good. Thank you, Johnny. Not only for this one, but for all the other arrangements that you've done for us through the years. It's been really handy to have that person you can turn to and say, we need this piece of music, and he gets right with it and does it. Thank you so much for coming. I mean, this has been a wonderful experience for us to get to share our music with you, and I hope that many of you are going to stay and have lunch and whatever. And we're going to end with a song that you all know and love, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then after that, Johnny will have a few little announcements to make about the other Music Box series programs that are coming up after the new year. This today is considered one of these, part of that series. When we no longer had the Changing Gears groups to go to, what we noticed was that a lot of people came to music programs, more so maybe than some of the other, and that there might be a way to continue that. Which, look at the crowd we have today, and I would say that may be part of it, but it's just wonderful to have so many fine musicians in this church. We're trying to deal with give those people an opportunity to share their music with others, and so he can tell you about the programs that are coming up in the new year. So we'll do that afterwards, okay? That work for you, John? Yeah, okay, all right, good. So now we're going to play Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now there's a percussion section in this as well, and I want you to pay attention. We got Frank, and didn't he do a good job with the whistle and all that? You know, Frank has a long history at Opryland, and we're all still upset about the fact that there still is no Opryland. And so he has played all kinds of music through the years, and I just think he's wonderful on the slide whistle. What was that? Yeah. Do what?
Intro.
Said you're doing a fine job.
What would I do without Frank and these people to remind me what I was going to do next? Thank you, Frank. And then there's not only Frank on percussion, but then Shirley has a percussion instrument she's going to play. And it's got a nice little history with their family, and I want you to know that. So Shirley, would you demonstrate your percussion instrument? So listen for that, and then there's going to be some clip-clopping as well going on over there between Frank and Shirley. So the story behind the bells is that those are real sleigh bells, and they are from what part of your family? Glenn, raise your hands, please, so everybody know that's her husband, Glenn, and his family. These sleigh bells were originally with his family on a sleigh in Idaho. So, isn't that interesting? I wanted you to know that, so you can be thinking about that as we play this piece. Now I'm going to introduce everybody in the group, because I want you to know who everybody is, so you can you can introduce. This way they'll find out who each other is and who they've been making music with. So we start over here with Barbara Sullivan. Next is Jane Kirchner. She, of course, is Frank's wife. And a wonderful flute player. I'm trying, okay, they're trying, I'm not talking in the mic. Can you hear me all right? Yeah. All right, good. So I'm going to try to talk in the mic, but I got to see who I'm talking about next. So that's Jane. And that next, you already know the wonderful Audrey Campbell. And the next is Debbie Fritz. She and I are twins. We have the same shirt. And it does have a little bell on it, right? Yes. That was an accident. We found out several years ago that we both had the same shirt, so we like to dress alike. The next is Janet Sawyer. The next is our newest member, Meg Zimmerman, and her husband is here for the first time. Raise your hand. They're new to Nashville in a way, and new to Westminster in the last few years, and so we loved having her. Next is Leslie Higgins, and next is Kelly Christie or Christy Kelly, whichever one. I have to stop and think, what is her first name, because she has two first names. And the next is Jill Sink, and then Shirley Davidson, who sort of met, and then Frank, and you know pretty much all about Frank. And then this is Cecile Settle. Now, would you look at what Cecile is playing here today? All those bells, and then she has the tone chimes as well. And those are typically picked up and rung as we did in Johnny's piece, but there is a way that you can do this, and then she can. Not pretty? We just love that bass sound, so she can leave them there and then play with a mallet. So there you go. Thank you. Isn't that a nice sound? Okay, so that's our group. Let's give them a round of applause. How are we doing on time? Oh, this is going to turn out pretty good, right? Because we've got one more song. Okay, Rudolph and the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Because the rhythm is different there. So let's do this one more time. You watch me, and it goes, let's see.
They just came in a little.
It gets a little bit raw without it. Let's look at Rudolph. Isn't he good? One more time. Just sing softly and follow me. Here we go. Same place. Well, but then also some augmentation.
Yeah.
It's augmentation. All right, 55. 1, 2, here we go. Now watch Karen. Now, for those, he can't breathe very well, he's underneath it. For those of you that've been coming to our concerts for years, about, I don't know, 8, 9 years ago, it seemed like, we were gonna do an arrangement of the bare necessities. I was in the office, and John happened to be there, and we were talking about, well, wouldn't it be fun if somebody would dress up like a bear? And we all looked at John. He said, I'll do it. Those 2 words started us down a path, and it's been such fun. I mean, he has been the bear, he's been the Easter Bunny, he's been Santa Claus, Uncle Sam, Yankee Doodle. He was an angel last year. And it's been great fun. So we found this costume, and it's got to have a red nose, and doesn't he look good? Oh, yeah. A good sport and being such a trooper. And he's also behind the scenes, as are the other sexes that couldn't get along without them at Westminster. You just don't realize it, but they're what helps things to run smoothly. Yeah, right. I appreciate
And
it.
Sherri Givens, who prepared this delicious meal.
And there she is. I am so happy that you all came. It certainly started off part of our Christmas season.
Yep.
And you don't
Enjoy
put
it.
that on again while we're
Okay,
here.
I bet
I'm going to now ask my husband to tell you just a little bit about the upcoming program for the music box. Heidi was very sorry that she could not be here today. She's sick. You know, we're talking about people who are sick. She's one of them, and so that's why she is not here today. So, Mr. John Arnn, tell us what's upcoming in the new year.
This is so great to see so many of you here. I want to say just a quick word of thanks for for the piece that these people played in the handbell, and particularly Audrey, who has this marvelous ability to lift the words off of the page, and it was just marvelous. I was going to say that Heidi sends her regards. She's dealing with a virus at home and wisely staying at home so she doesn't bring that with us, but we miss her. We have a nice meal prepared. Thanks, as Rudolph said. Thanks to Sherri and the office staff for all of that. Next, what month is it?
It's December.
In January, we're going to have a program that features a mainstay instrumentalist of Westminster, Sam Levine. You all, he's frequently up there playing his horn, whether the church wants him or not. He's up there, he's a multi-talented. I'm not sure at this point who all he will have with him, but he's bringing his group. And that That will be the program. February, who we will have is a mystery to me. I don't know who it's gonna be. So if any of you wanna request a program, you can tell me about it and we'll see what we can do.
Or if you want to be the program, just let us know, right? If they would like to be the program, they can certainly volunteer.
That would be good.
I don't see any raised
I
hands.
didn't even think that worked.
Well, that's enough for me.
So go ahead and tell them about the rest of the season.
Oh,
March,
March is going to be,
the three sopranos.
you've heard of the three tenors?
Yeah.
Well, we have three sopranos that will team up to do a program.
Hannah
And,
and Anna and Emily.
yeah,
You all know them. They either work here at the church or they've been in the choir. Won't that be fun? Three sopranos,
yeah.
okay?
And then, that's March, right?
Right,
April is, Arnold.
right.
What's her,
Isabel?
Isabel. You know, it's going fast. Isabel Bartles and violin, that'll be a very enjoyable program. And in May, you all need to come back because you're gonna have this same group, the Bell Choir. There's not a title for that program, but we don't need one.
To be decided.
Or
It's to be
It's to be
decided.
decided. I'm looking around and I'm looking for the face of Donovan.
He was here
Has he
earlier.
been
He's
here?
was here. He's
Yeah,
He was here earlier, he's had to step out though.
okay, well, it's too bad. I didn't anticipate having, I'm asking if Reverend Carson, would you be kind enough to offer thanks for our meal that we're about to have?
The Lord be with you.
Also with you.
Dear God, we are so grateful for this day, for opportunity to be gathered here to enjoy such a wonderful program of music and fellowship, to be together in this time and space in this season. We thank you for your gifts of grace and pray that the food that we're about to receive will strengthen us, that we serve you ever in Christ's name. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, I think